I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Welcome back to the AfterBuzz After Show for Betty, our show on HBO. And today we're gonna be discussing episode 3 and 4, as we missed last week. These episodes, I will say they were very juicy. But before we get into them, let's reach over to my co-host to my right or your left, Miss Kitty. She allows me to call her Miss Kitty.
Yes, indeed, darling. Kitty Kaboom, how are you guys?
Kitty
I'm so glad to
Kaboom.
be back. I feel like I've been gone for a minute, so it feels good
I
to get back in
know.
the groove of it.
And I've missed you too, Kitty. I was like, oh my God. I was so excited for today because for this show, but I was excited to see you. And I was like,
I'm always excited to see you as well, Cortez. Looking quite dapper over there, sir.
This is just my quarantine look, my glow.
Well, you better than me, because as you can see, I'm doing the best I can, baby. What
It's
I
okay.
got.
So, as I said, today we're going to be talking episodes 3 and 4, and they were really, really, really good episodes. I just want to get right into it, and I just kind of want to talk about what did you think about the episode 3?
Well, I like them both. I really do like this show. I get what you're saying, that is kind of slow moving for some. I guess because I've always been like a fan of that culture, then I find it really interesting that these girls have decided to spearhead it, but not like in an organized, put together way. So it's almost like, I feel like I'm watching a younger version of myself, just in a different arena. Like I said, I never skateboarded myself. I was never in that actual environment. But I always watch from afar, like, damn, they're cool. You know what I mean? They're doing cool stuff. So to see them get themselves into hot water week after week is just hilarious to me. And I love it. And I love that they're like halfway doing grown-up stuff, but they're still children. So obviously the way they approach things is kind of different. Yeah.
I agree. And when you said it in hot water, like I will say they definitely are in hot water. Starting out with episode 3, you know, the girls are in like a diner or restaurant, and it's Janay's birthday, and they're thinking about what to get her. And our friend or some people's friends, Kirt, suggests that she gets her one of the pens that Indigo sells. So apparently Indigo works with the guy she's like a middle woman for drugs, and she realizes that her weed pens are missing.
Right.
That's what jumps off this
pens.
episode. Her vape pen, yes, her vape pen are missing. So they go on this hunt, as there's no strangers to be on the hunt. They find out that the pens are missing and these guys have it. So, mind you, in the last episode, Indigo got into some other trouble with guys. This time she's in trouble with guys again. So, like with this vape pen, what do you think is the significance of it, and just how the situation breaks down when she gets the pens back? Because now she owes money. Like this is not her pens.
Right. The significance, that's a good question. I don't know if there's any symbolism or anything there, except that just kind of underscores, again, these are children. And despite the fact that they're dipping their big toe into grown-up activities, like selling cannabis, they're still kids on the go, making moves and stuff. So, and she smokes too. So, it is an altering, it's not a hallucinogenic, but it definitely doesn't, you're not 1,000% on your game when you're high. I don't care what nobody say. You can wake and bake and smoke all day, but you're that's the point of it, right? Slow you down a little bit, mellow you out a little bit. So you can get, not reckless. What's the opposite of reckless? A little lackadaisical, right? Like you're not on top of your game.
That's a nice word.
I love that word, lackadaisical. So that can happen. And it looks like that's what happened with Homegirl. And she just seemed like she was so on top of things. You know what I did think was very interesting, and I won't jump ahead, I'll let you get to it, but the interaction between she and her mom as a result of losing the pins, I enjoyed that very much.
So that was my next thing I was going to talk about. So she goes, just like any other child, to their mom. And at first she's like, I just need the money. I need $3,000. So mom is like, no, like if you want money, go get a job.
Don't you love how I have to have it. Everything with kids is I'll just die if I don't have it.
Exactly. First of all, I was glad to see that they showed her family, because we've only seen Honey Bear's family. Like, I like to see, where these kids come from. And her mom seemed to be very prominent. She seems to be like on top of her, she obviously I don't want to say she's wealthy, but she seems well put together.
She's wealthy.
And yeah, right. Well, okay, yeah, wealthy. And so she's just so finally she's like, hey, I need the money for, she said like drug bust or something. She said something,
Right.
basically
Something
alluding to what it really was. But her mom was like, really? She didn't believe it. I thought her mom was gonna like kind of be like take it more seriously, but she kind of brushed it off. And like with that, I was like, what kind of relationship does her mom have?
That's what I found so interesting. I would love to know what I'm looking forward to prayerfully them bringing in a backstory so I can have some context, because I thought it was very interesting. Just as you said, the way her mom reacted was just like, okay, not really sure what that means. Like she wasn't thrown off. She wasn't all in. She was just kind of neutral with the whole thing. Like, girl, every 2 minutes is something else with you. You had to have the Prada boots. You had to have whatever. Now you have to have this. Your allowance, because remember when she said how much she get for an allowance?
300
some wealthy.
Exactly.
Baby,
That's a lot.
I wish I could.
I talked to my friend about that, and he was like, "Do you think that's a lot?" Yeah, that's a lot. Like, that's $1,000. That's people get
for a child that does nothing. It don't even look like you doing school like you supposed to, little girl. And clearly, you have enough money to move and shake and get into stuff. So I don't know. For me, my mama was never giving me. I can't remember getting more than $50, if that, a week.
Wow.
Or like, why would I even get that much money? Anyway, it was a lot, and that's why I was just like, oh. And if you can't budget that much money to get back, like the good news is, it looks like the relationship that she has with her dealer is an amicable one, almost like a family affair.
Yeah.
So the fact of that was good, that she didn't try to keep it from him or hide or dodge. But she did. But
she did. She did. Yeah.
But once she was caught, she was like, all right, this is the sitch. You know what I mean? This is how this is going down. And not once when he was like, you better get my money. It wasn't, I like that about it. It wasn't like a pimp
situation. He was looking out for her.
Yeah, he was like, okay, but just understand, this is not about me. We got to make this work. We got to figure this out. So I thought that was kind of interesting too, because they're always breaking bad like they grown. All right, I'm going to take care of it. Like, little girl, you're the one in this mess and you did it to yourself. So how about you just relax and take some advice from an adult that might be able to help you, dear. Yeah, I thought that was interesting.
So with her mom, it seems like she knows she has resources, as in she goes and basically steals the money from her mom, and she writes a check. So
she wrote a check that her ass not gonna be able to cash, baby.
Well, we'll talk about the check. Okay, so so let's talk about Honey Bear. Honey Bear, we got to know a little bit more in the last episode. We met her family, and she is the videographer of the group. She's new to the group as well. In this last episode, there was a girl that Kirt brought to her attention that she kind of brushed it off, but then in the end of last episode, she basically reveals that she did like her. So now Honey Bear, her storyline is moving a little bit more into like a love story. She's met this girl. Every time she sees her, she's a little shook, but now she talks to her. Finally, exactly. And I like that they're kind of finally giving the characters their own stories. Hers is more based off of, her and this girl. And finally they talk at the party. What do you think about Honey Bear and I guess her personality and just how she is with this girl versus the group? Because she seems to be the most level-headed one of the group.
She's very even keel.
Yeah. What do you think about her relationship with the girl?
I think it's an interesting, once again, going back to our youth, I think it's an interesting dichotomy. There's another word for you. Another dichotomy that she is so even keeled, seems so measured, and so almost the most mature of the group, because she's able to take a step back and not be so reactionary. So I think it's interesting that her outside, her persona, and how she dresses and stuff. I mean, she literally walks around with a button down. I'm sorry, y'all. A button down, and then pasties or right X's on her nipples. No, I mean, granted, she got little bee stings, they cute, but the point is that you feel comfortable enough to come outside like this, right? Hair done up, like she clearly, and it's not an attention grab. I don't get that impression for her. It's not like flashy, like check me out, I'm doing things. It's more like I'm expressing myself. This is how I get down. I'm comfortable in my skin, and accept me kind of how I am. So with that kind of, what is that when you have that inside yourself? Confidence. that it surprises me that she's so, again, the dichotomy is that she's that.
She's a little timid.
But she's timid, right? When the girl's
she's
like, didn't you try to talk to me? She was like, no, that wasn't me. But you just drove past me. I thought you were going to speak. No, that was, girl, of course it was you.
I think
you look just like you.
She's an introvert, you know, I think, and it shows, like, I know people like her to where she, you know, she is very she is very, very expressive. Like, she has her pressed out, and she's very, just very artistic in terms of how she herself. But she's still very, like I said, timid. Like, she's very shy. I think that is the way she can be loud and express herself, is by showing her boobies or showing you say her beast things.
Her beast things. She got little baby boobies.
So
cute little boobies.
I enjoy her character. I think it's needed amongst this group because, you know, there's so many, I don't want to say there's too many strong heads, but she does take the position back and kind of observes, and she keeps them more together when they are slightly falling apart.
Yeah. But
I
not
agree.
intentionally. She's not like the glue that binds. There's only one that, in my opinion, that has that glue, and that's what's the white girl's name that I said, like she grew up in a, thank you. Kirt is very much like, she wants to be the glue more than anything. Like, she wants to be the leader. She wants the girls to come to her because she's always asserting herself. She's always putting herself out there like, what just happened? What needs to go down? I got this. No, she ain't got nothing. She is hilarious. But you gotta love it. She got definitely a pair of balls on her.
She does. So, speaking of those balls, she in this episode, her, you know, she's with them, and of course you have what happens? She's the one that starts this whole fight. But as we rewind, we go back to Janay. Janay is still struggling with her friend and the girl that she accused. I mean, she accused him of sexually assaulting her. So she's struggling with that at the party where Honey Bear meets the girl that she likes.
Because that was her mission. Remember?
That was her mission. Yep.
It's your birthday, and you worried about this guy and the accusations and finding the girl, and
you know, and that's where it started. So initially Kirt came to her, happy birthday, wrong balloon and everything. But you know, she kind of put this bug in Kurt's ear that I want to go and mess this girl up. And Kirt, being the good friend that she is, she's like, you know, let's go get her. Like, as any type of friend should be, in my opinion.
They should. But Cortez, let's take the context of that fight. A good friend means I got your back, girl. Right or wrong, I'm gonna hold you down. But at the same time, if I can stop you before it even begins with thoughts and with logic, as opposed to because you're headstrong right now, not based on logic. You heard this man plead his case. You don't know where this little girl's coming from. You don't know what the experience was for her. And as a woman, you ain't even got to be a feminist to appreciate the fact that this is a very serious accusation.
I agree.
And whether it's true or not, the way to go about it is not hardly go hot cold and just haul off and smack the girl in her face or try to fight her. Like, what is that on your day? It's your day, boo. Go celebrate you. Come back to this, revisit it after you calm down, give it some thought, and approach that girl like, let's go have some lunch. Let's go smoke a doobie. Let's, you know, have a drink or whatever and have a discussion, because this is my best friend and he's saying some very damaging things, or you're saying some very damaging things about him. So make me understand how that works, as opposed, but she's a child, right? So you're emotional, you're reactionary, you're like, oh, I'm about to go get it in. You coming? What's up? What's good? Let's get it. And before the girl can even open her mouth, she started, you know, get on her face. Then she got the twin, and it was so messy.
So in that scene, a lot happened. So I do feel she was very aggressive with the girls, in my opinion. And it breaks out into a fight because Kirt, she sees from a distance what's going on. Honey Bear goes over there first. Let's just say Honey Bear does leave her date. I thought she wasn't gonna leave because the girl she was dating was trying to like give her something, and I was like, Honey Bear,
the phone number,
help your friend out. Yeah, the phone number. Like, go over there. So she gets over there and she tries to be like, hey, chill. Kirt comes over, the big bad wolf, gets into it with the guy and throws a skateboard through the window. It just basically escalates. And it's funny because she's like, don't run. You know what happens to people when they run. And it's like the same thing happens, they go to jail.
Of course. But why she stuck around is beyond me. Everybody else split and was out of there.
They
it was almost like Keystone Cops, right? Like, they were
I guess they were trying to do the right thing. Like, oh no, don't run. because he'll look guilty. But it's like, no, girl, you gotta
But
love
you
him because
are guilty, so standing there is going to do what?
but they
Throw
don't,
the
you know, the
police off?
officers don't see that. They only see the whole explosive situation, and they just react. You know, I mean, obviously that's what happened in the episode.
Yeah.
And that ends the episode. So now, you know, they are off to jail, which brings us into episode 4, where a lot of the episode is spent. Now, in episode 4, only Camille, who we didn't talk about in the last episode, we're gonna talk about her more this one. Camille, Honey Bear, and Janay are in jail. And Honey Bear, you can tell she's kind of like distraught, like this is not sitting well with her. But Janay and Camille are having this back and forth, mainly over the situation that happened, but more over the bowl that happened in episode 1, where Camille left Janay and the rest of the girls outside. So what are your thoughts on this? I guess
I was confused, to be quite honest with you, and not much goes over my head. But I was watching and I was like, wait, what is the anger about? Like, y'all are literally locked down, and instead of joining forces like twin powers, y'all at each other's throats, and for what? And you already know that Honey Bear was going to take her. Honey Bear take herself out of that whole. She's just a different mindset, so she's not about to.
She's not confrontational.
Right. She's like, these are my girls. I love y'all, but look where this ended us up. I'm over here trying to get myself together. Yeah. But I didn't understand the fight, to be honest with you. What was the root of the argument? I'm sorry. I was just confused.
So the argument basically it started with Camille saying that you're basically blaming Janay for them being in jail.
Okay.
And Janay was like, no, I didn't. I talked to those girls, but Kirt was the one that started the fight,
and that's very true.
And that's what happened. So they kind of had that moment, and then Camille was kind of like, you're just still upset about Winter Bowl, and then so that opened. I don't think
what's Winter Bowl.
The Winter Bowl was the event that Camille got into in the first episode when they were finding the backpack, the big skateboard event.
Oh,
or the park, whatever
that's why I guess I was confused. I'm like, what are they referring to?
It was the Winter. Yes, Winter Bowl was the skate park or the skate event that she got into and left them outside. They didn't get into.
There you.
So I don't think.
I don't care for her. Right. My bad. Okay, I remember, but I didn't remember.
Yeah, I don't think that Janay was upset about that backpack at that time. I think that wasn't even in her mind. But when Camille brought it back up, it opened the wound, which I can relate to that. Like that's kind of like it's how it happens. Like you're not really thinking about something. When someone brings it up, you're like, oh yeah, you know, like I'm not mad, but it wasn't right. So that's what they get into it about, and that's why homegirl over here, that was the lady that was sitting next to them was like, y'all shut up, I'm trying to sleep. That's why she was like, y'all are arguing about a bowl, which I mean, she probably thought it was like a bowl.
Yeah, exactly.
But they were talking, you know, she didn't know.
But it wouldn't even matter if she did know. Like, she's a lady locked up in jail. I don't want to hear this back and forth nonsense between y'all two. At the end of the day, you probably about to go home. Your mama gonna come get you. Y'all gonna be back friends by this evening, and I'm gonna still be stuck here. I don't want to hear about your little insignificant skateboarding escapades and all that. That's not relevant to me. I can appreciate that. What is y'all squabbling about?
I mean, I agree. That lady, it's a holding room. It's like, lady, come on now. Like, you can't, actually, if he was in jail, but she was a very massive lady, I would probably shut up too. So I'm not even gonna lie.
Play your position,
let's
right?
take a moment from the jail scene and dip into Camille, because we didn't talk about Camille in episode 3, but her story carries more into this one, which what happens in episode 3 moves into episode 4, and it blows up. So with her, you know, she's with these guys. She's still, initially I feel like it was about skating, but now it seems to be more of a love connection in terms of what she thinks. I think she really likes the guy, but he tells her in the previous episode that, you know, I'm skating with you because I think you're talented, not because you're cute. But to her, she really likes this guy.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on her and this guy? Because when they do get out, I know I'm skipping ahead, but when they do get out, she thinks it's him. He is the person that she calls for her one call, but it's not him. And honestly, when she called him, he was just like, oh, you're in jail? Oh, wow.
Exactly, right. Like, and you want me to do what about that? Yeah, clearly she has a crush on this guy. I think that she feels flattered that he sees her talent. I don't mean to put that in quotes. She is talented, I guess. So yeah, I'm sure she appreciates that aspect of it, but clearly she has a crush on this dude, and he's doing his best to, like, it goes back to, again, age and maturity, because I can't tell or I couldn't tell in that scene initially when they started to talk about when they were walking home, whether or not he really does like her and he's just trying to play it down like, look, cool your jets. You know what I mean? Let me be the one to initiate, or I feel like he wants to control the situation. Think about it, when they got to his door, he was like, okay, so yeah, I'll meet you in an hour. I'm going to go take a shower. It was fine for me to come upstairs last time. Why can't I come up? You know what I mean? Like, he's playing little Jedi mind tricks with her. I get, or at least during that time he was. So I think that it's kind of, I don't want to say pathetic, but it breaks my heart a little bit to see her keep like pining after this dude that for whatever reasons is keeping her at bay. So she probably should have called her mama, not no daggone. I mean, I know she probably thought like, maybe I can get out of this and my mother not find out. Excuse me, but mama is always the best route. Just take your lumps, you know, because at least you know you're going home. Why would you put your faith in this boy?
Yeah, I agree. And like you said, it kind of breaks my heart a little bit because it's like she is talented, but she is clearly needs to be hanging with these girls versus these guys. Like, I know she wants to skate and be invited and stuff like that, but she does apologize. She does apologize to Janay for not getting them in because technically she was wrong. You know, they did help her, and she even said that, you know,
she apologized to Honey Bear, right, at the grocery store.
Well, it was, you know, she did it twice. She apologized to Honey Bear first, and Honey Bear was like, you know, I don't care, like I'm good.
But of course she did care. But it was cute how she did that.
Exactly. Now in jail, she did apologize to Janay. She basically said that she's sorry for what happened and that she did have a good time that day. So it clearly she likes these girls, no matter how. I think her, you know, trying to get in with these guys is like dividing her from making a relationship, because it's like she has to choose a side. It's unfortunate, but she has to choose a side because it's like these girls are like, we're like women empowerment. The guys, they're over there, we're over here. And I feel like she's over here with the guys and they're like girls, you know, it's a division. So she's in the middle with her character.
Yeah. But she put herself there. I feel like there's a lot of self-sabotage on her part, you know?
Of course.
Again, so many of these aspects remind me of myself. I probably shouldn't disclose all this. But I just remember being young and feeling like, and I still have to work very hard on not being so reactionary. So I think that a part of her is like, I'll befriend the boys because they're the real skaters and I actually physically like this boy. And I want to be down with the cool kids. I want to be down with the kids that are making waves and creating, you know, I want to be positioned in such a place that people look at me and be like, oh, I get that from her. That vibe from her is so like, I don't want to say thirsty, but low-key thirsty, right? It is a little thirsty. But with the girls, I think that she thinks she'd be settling somehow. Like, I mean, we're all girls. We're just trying to make this life. Y'all are cool, I guess, but the boys is where it's at, you know? So I want to, instead of knowing, as we know as adults, that it's, you know, you're stronger together. And it makes more sense for you to solidify your allegiance to a group of people that's going to have your back. You know, Kirt going to have your back if don't nobody else will. More so than these guys. The boy told you to your face he don't even like you. Whether that's true or not, that's what he said. So why would you continue to... Yeah, like you're basically going to a door that said, we don't have no more food. And you see somebody else get fed, the cool kids get fed, and you go back to the door. They don't already told you they ain't got no more food. Clearly they're giving it to people that they want to give it to. Don't eat there. Like, let it go. You know what I mean? You don't got to eat that food. Bump that food. But she doesn't, you know, she's young.
No, she doesn't register. And I hope, hopefully after what happens in this episode, hopefully she, you know, wakes up. I know that's because she got a wake up call well, I hope she does.
You know, I don't want to see her continue to be a bit of a antagonist. I'd like to see her stay on the out and keep on bumping her head against the wall, and maybe something goes down with the guys. Nothing, you know, I don't want nobody trying to rape the baby or, you know, be sexually, But like maybe they get a little too rough with her or too comfortable or too whatever. And she's like, I probably should hang with the girls that are, you know, they'll get me, right? So yeah, to be honest with you, in terms of a storyline, I kind of wish that she would stay on the outskirts just to see how that plays out.
No, and like I said, her character, it's a cool character. I just want her to, like I said, I want her to wake up. I don't really want to see her suffer anymore. It's like we're 4 episodes in, like, all right, this guy doesn't really like you like that. Let's cut it short. Hang with these girls. They seem to be fun. They got their own little mess going on, but you know, that's that on that.
Yeah.
Speaking of other girls, so while they're in jail, we have Indigo, who had this check now. with Kirt, and they get the call that they're in jail. And I love that Indigo takes it upon herself to. She feels obligated to get them out. You know, she's in so much trouble right now because she owes $3,000 for these vape pens, but she obviously uses the money to get them out. Kirt is being Kirt, and honestly, Kirt's character in this episode was very annoying to me. I started to see the distinctiveness in how she speaks with the girls versus how she speaks, because she also, well, I don't want to fast forward, so let's go back. We'll go back. They get them out and they get out of jail. We only see Janay and Honey Bear get out, and we see Camille gets out on her own. When they get out, there's a big argument between Janay and Kirt, because they confront Kirt and say, it's your fault, you caused all this, and Kirt kind of storms off. We talked about this earlier, saying that we do feel that it was equally their fault. At least I think it's what we got from it, because Janay was very aggressive, but Kirt did come in and just swinging. So now that Kirt is by herself, she's hanging with this other girl and she's really struggling with it. Do you think that she really felt bad? Do you think that it was just a matter of like they kind of talked down on her, so she had a moment? What do you think about the whole situation between Kirt and now dividing against the girls?
I think that there's a huge distinction between Kirt and Camille in terms of how they feel. And I like the fact that the characters are so polar opposites.
You mean Janay? Or you mean Janay? As in
Camille is the girl with the glasses, right? That likes the boys?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm talking about her because Camille kind of wears her heart on. She thinks that she's not showing her cards, but she has her heart on her sleeve. And she tries to put up this whole tough persona of I'm cool, I can do this by myself, or I can be with the boys because almost like I'm above it all. But for real, she is so like fragile on the inside. Literally one word would have her like, oh, why did you hurt my feelings, and run home. I can totally see that happening. Whereas Kirt is the opposite. She always walking around like, I got this. I'll punch you in your face. You know what I'm saying? Don't talk to me like that, blah, blah, blah. But for real, her vulnerability is in all of that rah-rah, because you don't have to do all of that. You can sit back like Honey Bear and peep the whole sitch and decide what you want to deal with and what you don't, or where you want to insert yourself and where you don't. And she doesn't take those liberties. My point is that with all that bravado, all that rah-rah, it's so apparent that you are very insecure, that you really just want to be liked, that you always show up trying to bust somebody's head or take care of something, because it's almost like, I don't want to say she plays a masculine role, because a lot of times too, obviously in the gay community, there's no, I'm the boy and you're the girl. It's a partnership, and some people have more masculine or feminine qualities, just as in heterosexual relationships. But I say that to say, I think for her, in her mind, and I could be wrong, but the impression I get is that she thinks that being gay and being more of a tomboy gay or more of like a butch gay, that means that this is the way she should act. That if she, right? But she's not, that's not really who she is. Like, I can just see somebody stripping her easily. And like with the girl, her showing her vulnerability with the other girl, it's almost like she's trying to show I'm multifaceted. When for real, you're a big ball of mess and you're scared to death everywhere you go, in every position that you're in. But you're constantly trying to reassure everybody else that you're okay. Like if you, I don't mean to sound like a crazy guru, but I mean, it's real. And I know these children are children, but if she had like a genuine love of self, she wouldn't feel the need to project so much. It's almost like it's her mission every day to prove to the world that she's a badass and that she can ride her skateboard and grab on the back of a truck and go through crazy New York traffic, or show up, and throw a party together with only a thing of Arizona tea. Like, she wants so much to be, I got this.
No, so I agree. So it shows more when she's with the girl and the girl is like, come get me, like take all this body, and she can't even focus. She's just like, she's thinking about everything that was said. And
she's vulnerable.
She is. And in that conversation, she moves on. She grabs some shrooms and she goes to the girls, I guess, as an olive branch, and gives them the shrooms. And they're like, girl, like, you haven't even apologized. First off, we don't do drugs, what they say.
Okay, not real drugs. Weed is one thing, not real drugs. We ain't about to meth out this joint. Come on now, relax.
And then they're like, they kind of light into her again. They're like, girl, like, you didn't even apologize. And she's like, oh, and she storms off again. which leads to the final part of the scene. And before we get to this scene, I want to just make a quick notice to the scene in jail. I like how they had the girls that were in jail. I believe they were like corner girls, prostitutes, maybe. I'm not sure what they were, but I like the conversation they were having about basically how she needs to hear the other side of the story, and how, you know, basically it shows how girls can, how they. She was trying to make it seem like the girl was very promiscuous and very like showing of herself. But people, I will say, people who sexually assault others, they use that, you know. They use that, and so it's just right. And I like how they were, you know, prostitutes or corner girls, and they were giving a story. I think it was a good light to show that, you know, that doesn't mean you should never just assume that because your friend or because someone is overly sexual. Because honestly, I'm a guy and I like to wear my legs out, so yes, as well. I like to do that. That doesn't mean I want to be sexually assaulted. So I like how they put light onto that in the jail cell.
Co-sign that huge, Cortez. I agree wholeheartedly, because for the reasons that you said, but even on top of that, to think how far we've come. 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, can you imagine? There would not have been any empowering, you know, you can do it kind of girl, conversation. 20 years ago. They would have been stereotyped as corner girls. They have no brain. They're only using their bodies. Right. They can't insert any logic or reason or, you know, intelligent conversation in this, when in fact they are holding court, sweetie. I do this because this is what I want to do. I own my body. This is my choice. Like, can you imagine the self-empowerment that exists today, where nobody, we're not letting that go anywhere. Nobody's about to slut shame me. If I decide to come out the house with a goddamn G-string on, I'm probably asking for it. But at the end of the day, if we lived in a society that respected everybody's values and didn't do the judgy thing, there would be no asking for it. This is who I am to express myself. You like my booty? Thank you. Don't put your hands on it. And that would be it, you know?
Yeah.
So I really love that scene too. You're right, because of what you just said, but also because it just shows how far we've come, that we're writing in scenes like that. Whereas it might not even have been believable 5 years ago. We'd be like, now since when do hookers got a brain to be sharing some type of empowerment movement, you know?
No, so it was very key. And that conversation is what leads Janay to finding the girls. She found her sister. And she sets up a meeting. I guess it's interesting because the meeting it's held at like a public pool. I guess they're like the twins. They're like lifeguards. I'm not sure what they are. But they go to this pool and they're not in the swimwear. They're in bikinis. I mean, I'm sorry. They're in like panties and bra.
Right.
It was very funny because when they get there, she's like that's not a swimsuit. And I was thinking the same thing, like, that's not a swimsuit. So Janay goes over and talks to the girl that accused her best friend of sexually assaulting her. And the conversation, you know, it kind of goes how you think it would go. Basically, the girl, she listens to the girl and she explains the side of the story. And watching this scene, I will say, I was kind of seeing where it was going, because I saw that Janay's, her reaction, her face was given like, this happened to me too. She has the conversation, and she basically admits that it happened to her too. Big old mic drop. I'm like,
that was a heartfelt moment. But you couldn't, it's the same theme. And that's what I love about the show. Not only is it empowering about women, feminism, girl power, all that good stuff, the dichotomy with men and how that whole situation works. But even better than that is the bottom line is, when you don't know, you cannot react. We get it. This your man's in them. But guess what? He lied to you. That should have been a red flag right there. The fact that he didn't feel comfortable enough to share that this situation happened, or that this young lady commented in their sections and said what she said and tried to keep it under wraps, should have been a red flag. But that's your man and you love him and you don't think of like that. So your immediate reaction is to go defend him and his honor. And girl, do you see yourself? Men don't need no defending of honors, especially by women. And the fact that you can now relate and see that this is something that actually, you can see it, right? When it dawned on her in her face and she was like, oh.
Yeah, her face was it was like, it was given that. And, you know, just a quick thought. I was confused as to how, if it happened to her, why it took for this to happen, for this to come out for her to, you know, and, you know, feel
she's
like
child. She's headstrong.
It's interesting.
She never
That's
talked
true.
to the
That's
girl,
very
right?
true.
She never, what did we say initially? That she should have reached out to this girl and been like, can we have a conversation? Let's talk. Let's
Yeah.
go smoke a doobie and have a conversation or
It's
whatever.
hard though. It's very hard, I will say,
She's
because
right.
well, not just that, but I mean, it's her friend. So I get it. You know, you don't want to believe, but it's like if you've been through it. It's a tough place, and I will say
I
I'm
just
just
would have, even at that age, I'd like to think that I would have
yeah
started here and let it go there. Like, I'm not
yeah
saying I still wouldn't have wanted to fight her if in fact she admitted that she lied or whatever the case may be, but I'm not
yeah
going to start there. You know what I mean?
yeah
Because I want to hear your side of the story. Like, I'm all for the juicy. Let's get it. Like, spill that tea. Let's get to talking, and then I'll make a determination having heard both sides.
yeah.
It would have been
So
nice.
okay, that was the end of the episode.
Yes.
I guess before we run out of time, let's give a quick prediction as to how we think things will move forward, because it's getting really good. So, what's your quick prediction on moving forward, episode 5?
Quick prediction. Shoot. Mine is more for like an overall thought process. I would really like to see Kirt come into her own as not such a let me present myself as how I want you to portray or how to see me, as much as who like. Let that vulnerability really exist. You know what I mean? Nobody's going to side eye you. Nobody's going to call you a punk or a soft or any whatever assumptions, whatever fears you have. But just embrace who you really are, I guess is what I'm saying. I want Kirt to have like an epiphany and wake up one morning and go, wait, you know what? These girls like me regardless. Like, I ain't even got to do all this. You know what I mean? I'd like to see that.
So I guess my quick prediction would be for Indigo. She made the phone call for the modeling, and I don't know if that's gonna work out for her, because modeling is very cutthroat, and you know she's very young, so I think that's actually going into danger. But I understand it's quick money, or that's what she thinks is quick money. So I think it's gonna get very rough for her. And Janay, you know, I don't know how she's gonna confront her friend, but I don't know. The fact that she's been through it and she knows someone else now, that's gonna be very sticky. So that's my quick prediction. It's gonna get sticky. So that concludes episode 3 and 4. I'm excited for the rest. Before we head out, let us know where we can find you, Miss Kitty.
Oh, please look me up on social media, baby. I'm on IG at Kitty Kaboom, KITTIEKABOOM, and on Twitter at Kitty Meow.
Oh, and you can find me on Instagram at Stupid Wild Tez, and we can talk about the show and many other shows. So, if nothing else, we're gonna get out of here, and thank you all for tuning in for AfterBuzz Betty After Show, and we'll see you guys next week for episode 5.
Yes, bye guys. Thanks for tuning in.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.